Hey, I'm Nick, and excited to be here with you on Thursday, January. What are we? January 9th. It's hard to believe we are already over a week into 2020. Um, I mean, I already feel like this year's flying by. I feel like it just started. We are in our sort of down cycle over at Define My Day Shipping, which is downstairs. um, it's been a crazy season, and this is like the kind of like the little contraction now. Like we can take a breath. We're gonna go next week and go into our kind of like after action report. Talk about what went well, what went wrong, and how we can make the coming year better. I'm really excited for 2020. And we have a lot of new things going on. These videos being one of them. If you're a user of Define My Day, I've been going live every morning in there answering questions for our customers. So I think there's gonna be a lot going on, and I'm really excited for it. So I hope you have similar things going on. I hope you're excited for 2020. I hope everything is going well for you so far. If not, I have a big belief that it will. Everything is a season. We have bad times, we have good times, and we just have to have a purpose, that sense of purpose, to get us through it all. Today, in a little bit, I will be talking about a life hack that will help you accomplish anything you want. Before I get to that, I'm going to get into some housekeeping and some little things here I want to discuss beforehand. This Thursday conversation is meant to be a little bit more relaxed. It's not so much a class. I just want to talk about a topic or two. I'd love to answer any questions that you guys have. It doesn't have to be about Define My Day. It can be just about anything. Anything related to self improvement. What you're doing for 2020, goal setting. Whatever you have going on. I see Kathy. Hi, how are you? Amy, thank you for joining. Loretta, you're in here. Awesome. Love having you. And Anna, good to see you too. Thank you for joining me. Kathy was our winner last week of one of our prizes. And I'm actually giving away, this is our last Bic Intensity little carousel here. These are the Bic Intensity fine liners. 12.4 millimeter fine liners and 12 medium 0.7 millimeter fine liners. So if you want to win one of these, I'm going to give them away to a random commenter at the end of today's video. So ask questions, make comments, comment on somebody else's question. Anybody can win. So I'm in kind of hey Connie, your first time here. Awesome, thank you for joining me. So I'm kind of, like I said, I'm kind of in my downtime here. Like let me turn off my watch here so I stop hearing dings. So we're kind of in our downturn. We're kind of in our slow time period. So we're doing our planning, trying to figure out where direction we're gonna go with 2020. And a few things that I've been really getting back on board with for myself are health and mindset. Mindset's huge. And I see it with a lot of people, whether they're starting our Define My Day process or just, out and about in life. It's that story that people tell themselves that can really have a huge impact on your life. At the end of my meditation this morning, I feel like I need to talk about this because it's coming up way too often. But at the end of my meditation this morning, my Headspace app said, "Our identity, our storyline is created by what we repeat. It becomes what we believe." So let me read that again. Our identity, our storyline is created by what we repeat. It becomes what we believe. So those things that we do every day make us become the sum of those actions, right? In Atomic Habits, James Clear says that every action you take is voting for that person you want to become. So whatever you did today, whatever you're doing tomorrow, you're voting for that person you want to become. Now, maybe the person you want to become isn't connected to the actions you're taking today. And that's the reason for our process, to help that person, to help you or anyone to connect their actions today with where they want to go in life. That's our sole mission with Defined Life, with Define My Day, is to help people connect what they're doing now with where they want to go. Because I think there's a big disconnect there, especially with all the distractions going on in life these days. It's crazy. It's crazy. And actually, another thing that popped up in my Facebook feed, because I do peruse Facebook once in a while, somebody posted this: retirement age is 67. Life expectancy is 78. Work for 50 years to maybe enjoy 11. Start enjoying life now. No one is guaranteed tomorrow. It's absolutely right. I don't want to not enjoy today, no matter what I'm doing, right? I want to enjoy the journey and not try to get to some fairy tale retirement age or time period where I'm going to suddenly enjoy life. Because if we go back to that other quote about voting for who you want to become, if you're not enjoying every day, you're not going to be the type of person that can enjoy life once you reach that point that you've been waiting to reach. I'll tell you what, I see it between two people that are in my life every day right now. My postal carrier is, man, he's never going to see this. He's miserable. Years ago, I saw him on the road, and I stopped and handed him a package that I was actually going to drive to the post office. And I said, hey, do you mind taking this? Just kind, nice, hey, do you mind taking this with you? And I don't remember what his response was, but I remember thinking, man, he's grumpy, right? And we were driving away, and my son in the back, who was probably 5 or 6 at the time, goes, what's wrong with that guy, right? Like, he even got it. Like, at 5 years old or however old he was, he understood what was wrong with that guy. Now, our UPS guy is the happiest, most mission-driven, customer service-centric guy I may have ever met. Like, he's on it, man. He's always, like, he does anything, and he enjoys, like, over this past couple of weeks, we've been giving him hundreds of packages a day. And he loves it. He's like, holy crap, you guys are doing so good. Like, he enjoys doing the work. He enjoys working with us. So two people doing practically the same exact job. It's all in what you make it. It's all in what you make it, right? So, whatever you're doing right now, take time to enjoy it. And if it's not something you can enjoy, then take some moments to maybe try to change that direction a little bit and do something you do. All right, so let me see what's going on in here. Connie, first time, I said that already. Kathy, first time for me too. New year, new me. Awesome. Love it. Kristen, hey. Sheila, first time live. Awesome, Sheila. Thank you for joining me. Lori, first timers. We got a lot of first timers. 2020, here I come. Sandra, new and just jumping in. Not a perfect start, but a start. We're going to talk about that. Believe in becoming. Absolutely, Connie. Tanya, hi. Enjoy life. Absolutely. Connie says, do you think that culture enjoyment comes from the top? I don't know. Do you think that culture enjoyment comes from the top? Oh, like, so from the organization that they're in. Is that what you mean? Sheila, I'm right there with you. Always try to play games with boring stuff. Absolutely. Like, even like doing the dishes. I hate doing the dishes. But I will, I'll like play a game with like maybe how fast I can do it. Or, like something silly. I don't know. Like, there's always like some little like goofy little thing I try to play a game with. Absolutely. But so, Connie, does the culture of enjoyment come from the top? If you're talking about from an organization, I absolutely believe that that's possible. And I think that's when people need to change organizations, right? As a outsourced IT guy, you can see organizations that have good leadership, that, that culture attracts people that enjoy it. And then like it kind of expels people that don't, right? Aubrey Marcus, I think, talked about this last year in a podcast where his his supplement company, like their culture is so positive that if anybody mistakenly comes into it and they're in kind of a negative Nancy or whatever, sorry if there's any Nancys watching, they come into that culture and then they can't handle it because it's too positive. So they just sort of self-select themselves out. And what happens in a bad culture is that if it's bad at the top, if there's a lot of like people not taking responsibility for what's going on, if there's a lot of blame and a lot of, like they allow bad habits to form with the people below them, then it attracts other employees that are comfortable in that culture. And when you get a high performer, somebody that, wants to do better, wants to be positive, wants to contribute to the team, they're not going to get the kind of feedback they want. So they're going to self-select themselves out. So then you only attract poor people, like poor performing people, not poor people, but like poorer performing people with bad attitudes, because they're comfortable around other people with bad attitudes, right? So if you want a positive attitude, if you want people, your culture to have a positive attitude, this goes for families too, right? Then you have to, like everybody has to have that, because you're not going to attract people that have positive attitudes. Same thing with growth. Like people that want to grow, like the community that we're trying to create here, right? Like we want other people that want to grow, because I grow from reading your comments as much as you grow from anything you see from me. I think I gain more from this group than anybody, because I get to see what everybody's commenting about. I get to read all of the emails from everybody, and like it's empowering and it's motivational, and it's like you see like the people that are going through crazy stuff and changing their lives in these positive ways. And it's all mindset. It's like this. If you have, like, you can be in a terrible place, but if you have that mindset of like, there's a reason for this suffering. That you can overcome it. That no matter what happens, you're going to handle it the best way possible. Like that, it's inspiring that everybody around you and people that really appreciate that are attracted to you for it. And people that are like, it's not how real life is or whatever. Like anybody with a bad attitude is going to go somewhere else. Sure, they may make some parting shots. It happens, but they're going to go somewhere else, right? And so we attract what we put out. It's crazy how it happens. That whole law of attraction thing, I really kind of blew it off, and like things like people say they, the vibrations or whatever, and it might not be that. I don't know. I mean, I'm not all knowing, but I think that it's like healthy people, like, or people with a certain attitude, just identify with other people that have that attitude, and they just mesh well together. And it's really cool how it works. Like you can literally see somebody from across the room just from the way they're standing, the way they're speaking, their mannerisms, and say, I want to talk to that person. And you can say, like, that's the kind of person that I'd want to hang out with. It's really cool.
One moment. I didn't catch that.
And I have somebody talking to me back here. Doug, good to see you, man. Thanks for joining. Yeah, Connie, UPS versus the mailman. Yep, so I had you. I understood. Good. Linnea, I hope I pronounced that right. First time excited to start using my planner that just arrived. So glad I found to find my day. I'm glad you found us too. Thank you. Melinda says, first timer just turned 60 and at the what the hell do I do now place, right? Yeah, I get you. I was there too. Little races to pick up toys and do dishes. Yeah, Christy, that's awesome. I do that with my boys too. Melinda, right there with you, says Kathy. That's what I do with my kids and myself. It just goes faster. Absolutely. You got to make it fun. Like a lot of this stuff, like you got to be there anyway. We got to live life anyway. We might as well enjoy it, right? I always think about that when I see somebody that really hates their job, and you almost compound how much it sucks by being miserable. Like if you can't enjoy it, your time there, like even something as simple, you can see it when you go to the grocery store and you go through the checkout line. Somebody that's like really happy and like they're just like, they're interacting with people and they're just hi, how are you? And like even the simplest stuff, like you can tell they're happy to be alive, right? And then you get the other people, and sometimes it might just be a bad day, but then you get the other people that you see all the time. And like I've even tried to play games, like try to get them to smile a little bit, and I don't think it's ever worked. In fact, they just look at me like, "What's wrong with you?" And then I get like all like, "Oh, really? That didn't work. You're stupid for even trying," right? But like, there's just people like they're there for a shift. Like if you're not enjoying your time there, if you're not enjoying the people that are coming through, if you're not just playing games and enjoying that time, then it's just going to be miserable perpetually over and over again. And maybe a job change is in order, or maybe we just need to change the way we approach it. Ashley says, stepping into 2020 has sparked a great motivation in me. I've been using Define My Day for a few months now. Awesome, thank you. And it was a hit and miss in the beginning. Yep, it happens. We start and stop. I get it. But now with this new energy, it has helped me keep that energy each day. People like you, thank you. You're really putting me in the same group with Mel Robbins. That's pretty cool. Simon Sinek, again, yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And others have become a part of my daily influencers. The fact that you can even mention my name with those people is, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I have a imposter syndrome thing with that right there. So thank you. I don't even know what to say there. Kathy, what's up? Excited for 2020. I am too. Kim, glad to catch me live. Thank you. Appreciate it. What we attract is what we put out there. So very true. I've experienced both. Absolutely, Jan. Hi, Anna. Nancy, talk a little bit about. Will you talk a little bit about the spiritual component of excellence and DMD? Just getting started. Thanks. Sure. So I try not to get into religion with Define My Day. I find that it, especially in the group, like people have various views. And I think that, so when we talk spiritual, I'm not talking religion. You can place God in there, or Allah, or whoever however you believe. I try to keep it so that we are accepting of everybody, right? And so for me, I believe that we have to, we're given the tools, and it's our responsibility to make it happen, right? And so for me, from a physiological standpoint, I believe it when people say that we train ourselves how to think. And there's a back and forth of like what the universe is giving you and what it's offering you, and then it's like your responsibility to take advantage and grab the opportunities as you see them. And I'm not saying that in like a selfish way, but I'm saying that if you believe in God and you think God is there for you, and you pray to God for what you want, he's not going to just hand it to you. He's going to lay down a path for you to attain it for yourself, because that's how you grow, right? And so if you believe in the universe or whatever you believe, I think we need to make it happen for ourselves. So this process is all about taking that opportunity. We have to fix our mindset. We have to make sure that we're looking for that opportunity. We have to make sure that we're open to the things that the world is telling us in a positive way. And that's where a lot of where the affirmations come from. That's where the tomorrow I will improve comes from. We always need to look for that next step, that next stepping stone that we need to take. So for me, it's not beating ourselves down with negative talk. It's creating a more positive experience for ourselves. And that actually leads me into a post that I just saw. I actually posted it on the 7th on my page here. It says, it's easy to spot an orange car when you're always thinking of an orange car. It's easy to spot opportunity when you are always thinking of opportunity. It's easy to spot reasons to be mad when you're always thinking of being mad. You become what you constantly think about. Watch yourself. And that is part of the hack that is built into Define My Day. This process was built to help me, specifically in the very beginning, because I was the only user, right? It was built to help me train myself to think the right way, to think positively with appreciation, and to think about the things that I'm going to enjoy. Because I could see black clouds every day, and I don't have to try really hard to do that. But when I get in the habit of seeing the sunlight peeking through those clouds, or if you go from the meditation perspective, that there is always sun, like there's always a clear sky above the clouds. You just have to get to the point where you have to realize that it's up there no matter what, and that you can get there. You can raise yourself up to that point where you can see above the clouds and see that sky. And eventually the clouds part and we'll see that sky, right? I did a really cool video with my drone on Christmas morning. Christmas morning in Pittsburgh was ridiculously foggy, like pea soup foggy. And so I thought it would be really cool to put my drone up. And it was like 7:45, 8 o'clock in the morning. And so I put my drone up above it. And it took like 200-300 feet of fog to get through. And you could see at the it was beautiful, just like a layer, like a sheet of clouds for as far as you could see at like 300 or 400 feet in the air. And you could see the sunrise, and then I could go see the top of Pittsburgh, and the very top of the tallest building was just above the clouds. And then I came back down through the clouds, and it was amazing because it was so bright and orange. And I came back down through the clouds, and it was just like murky. It was like a completely different world. So, I think a lot of us get stuck in that murk, and that's all we can see, and we don't realize that there's so much more above there. And I think that's we can't just always be looking for what's wrong. We need to train ourselves to look for what can be right. Kathy, I agree about mindset. I was feeling overwhelmed with personal things this morning and was dreaded filling out this morning's Define My Day page. And I first thought was to skip it totally or just stop Define My Day. Oh, no, don't do that. But instead just wrote priority self-care and a few tasks related to that and just left other priorities blank for today. I do the same thing. That's exactly what I do. So my topic today is going to be specifically about what you just described, but also sometimes with Define My Day, if I'm having a particularly bad day, maybe I had a bad night, whatever happened, my priorities will not be work related. And that doesn't mean I don't have work. In fact, I might have a lot of work, and it'll be scheduled in my calendar. It might even be scheduled during my priority time in my calendar, right? But my priority will say priority number one, me. Appreciate what I have, eat well. Maybe it'll be drink water, it'll be exercise. I might even make all three priorities, like positive mindset, exercise, be healthy, like whatever is top of mind, right? And so that's what I'm looking at all day long. And I'll catch myself as I'm doing whatever I need to do from a work perspective. I'll catch myself in a bad mindset. And I will just have to look at that and go, you know what? No, I gotta flip this a little bit, right? And it's like sort of a power of positive thinking type thing, but I think it's just taking a moment to stop and think like, we're creating our own reality. We're creating our own reality, and we just have to sometimes stop and think like, it's not as bad as we think it is sometimes. In fact, it's usually a lot better. The other aspect of that, and again, it kind of goes into this topic that I'm talking about, this life hack that I have, is that, a lot of times we just need to get the ball rolling. On those days when we don't want to do anything, we just need to do, and that's it. We just need to do. And so I sit down and like pick anything on my list, the easiest thing on my list. If I have like zero motivation, I'll pick the easiest thing, and then just chip away at it. And eventually, like things start clearing up in my mind, and I can start rolling and no problem. The other thing I found to do, noise canceling headphones. Pop them on my head, and anything from like noise, like rain, to heavy metal. I mean, I'll listen to anything. Whatever changes my mindset, I am up for it. So it just depends on like kind of where I'm at. Kathy says, I think sometimes I beat myself up regarding not completing all the day priorities and tasks. Yeah, and that's a big thing that we've seen over the years with Define My Day. There should not be any judgment with this. Every time you write something on your priority list, we're striving to do better. we're not trying to make it an indictment on what we did or didn't do, or and how well we're behaving as a person. Every time you don't do something, it's an opportunity to figure out why. Like that question, like you always want to be curious. You want to ask yourself, I didn't get this accomplished. Why not? Right? So, and that's what we talk about when we reflect in the back page, when we journal. Like, why didn't I get this done? What am I feeling? Did I avoid it? Did I just not have it properly planned out? Did something else get in my way? What was the reason behind this, and how can I change that for tomorrow? Do I just not make this thing a priority? Maybe it's not a priority. Maybe it can just be left alone, and I can let it lie for a while. Or it is a priority. I need to get it done. Not getting it done is stressing me out even more subconsciously. Maybe I need help. Whatever it is, like you can ask yourself all of these questions and try to figure it out. And it's that touchstone. Like we're trying to get to know ourselves a little bit more rather than just acting and reacting. We want to understand why we think the way we think. So that's the whole process with the priorities and achieving them or not. You want to be inquisitive. Ask yourself questions about why you couldn't do it. And sometimes the answer could be, I'm just exhausted. I'm tired. I don't feel like it. That's okay too. We just don't want to let that go on every day. Like eventually we have to move. Hi, Karen. Nancy says, thanks. Appreciate your perspectives on the spiritual elements of taking responsibility for our gifts. Thank you. I'm glad you liked it. Loretta, hi. Yesterday was not a good day for me. I'm sorry to hear that. I was out of focus. I ate the wrong food, so did I. But today I beat myself up because I did not set a good mindset ahead of time. So you don't beat yourself up. There's no reason to beat yourself up. I am not the health food champion at the moment. But there's a fine line between beating myself up and realizing that like I can choose to do right now, right? Wherever we are in life from a health perspective or whatever, we didn't get here overnight, and I'm not going to change it overnight. So it's building blocks. It's small steps. Like you see Sheila in the group constantly, every day, small steps. And that's what it is. It's just one foot in front of the other. And sometimes we take a step back, but you just have to go, okay, I messed that up. And now I'm going to choose to go forward, right? It's just every day we have to make that little choice. But yeah, you know what? I regret. I lived with a lot of regret about things I've done or thought or whatever for a lot of my life. And I choose not to beat myself up over a lot. Sometimes I still do. Sometimes there's things that I do that I can beat myself up about, but trying to do my best to not do that and just try to work on improving more than anything else. So I hope you have a better day today, and I hope you have a better day every day, a little bit better. You can't turn around this steamship on a dime, right? We're just steering this big old boat of life, a little bit and trying to change direction to go the right way. So Sheila says, I believe spiritual includes non-tangible things. This includes, but not limited to, religious aspects, if you choose, absolutely. But the focus is on all things you cannot touch. Is that my idea also? I'm not sure I completely understand the question, Sheila. But so, I think if you're talking about self-improvement from if you're talking about like your relationship with the world around you, whether it's people or spiritually, it does encompass that. I don't know that I don't want to always get caught with Define My Day of making goals from like attaining things perspective or learning things. A lot of times it's just improving relationships, improving mindset. It could be, I have seen people trying to improve their relationship with God, whether it's, reading the Bible. You can make that a milestone. Going to church and things like that. I do a lot of like my physical health milestones are there. but yeah, it's not limited to religious aspects if you choose, but the focus on all things you cannot touch. Yeah, I think I understand, and I think I agree with what you're saying there. So it's just I don't know if you can clarify that a little bit in a subsequent comment for me. Clarify that for me, and I can try to address it better because I don't think I'm doing a very good job. Hi, Lori. Made it for my live. Thank you. I appreciate you being here. Started on Monday, and it's not perfect, but I'm a work in progress. Thanks again. Absolutely. That's the point, right? Look, I'm not perfect. I suck at this sometimes. It happens. Connie, I haven't received my Define My Day yet. Ordered on 1/1. You should be getting it soon, I would think. Now excited to get started. Was a 30-year Franklin Planner user. Awesome. I'm glad you moved over. I appreciate it. I've never used a Franklin planner. I've had people mention it in the past. I've never even seen one. I do like Covey. I have his books. I've never seen a Franklin planner. I'll have to check it out sometime because I do want to see where the similarities lie. Amy says, also first time live, started DMD on Monday. Awesome. Seeing that I need to work on my motivation and willpower when it comes to healthy eating. But I've made it to the gym 3 times this week and Pilates twice. Good for you. So I read the book Willpower, and he addresses specifically eating and all of the things that go along with it, and how it's incredibly hard to just will yourself into eating healthy. We can generally do it in short times, but I think for me, it's about setting myself up for success. One of the tips he uses is don't look at it like you're never going to be able to have this thing again. He says if you tell yourself you can have it later, then you can continuously put it off until you kind of lose that craving. So like if I want a bag of Doritos, I say, I'm not going to eat them now. I can have them some other time down the road. It's a very effective way of keeping the willpower to go without eating it. For me, the battleground has to be in the grocery store. If I don't purchase it in the grocery store, then I can't eat it at home. And I refuse to get off my butt and run to the grocery store just for a bag of chips. So that's my little hack for healthy eating. Obviously, I'm not completely on board with all this, but I'm getting there. I'm giving myself some grace. I do hit the gym just about every other day or every day, so we're working on that. All right, so the life hack that I want to discuss with you. This is an article. I will post the article in the comments here. But so this is the article. What is the title of the article? Hold on. The life hack that will change your life if you can stand it. Sounds like fun, doesn't it? So this is basically, this entire article is basically this premise, that if you want to accomplish anything, you have to work for it. Crazy, right? There is no life hack. There is no magical app. There is no book that's going to fix anything for anybody, including myself. We have to work. We have to develop focus, and we have to grind it out. So these are the 4 components of how to work, and maybe this can help change your mindset as you approach it. And I actually have defined my day in mind with a lot of these as I go through these, because even the process of going through Define My Day can be dull and can be work, right? I created it for the least amount of friction possible for me, but there's also things in here to challenge me, things that I don't necessarily want to do, but I know I need to do because it's healthy for me. So that's why the daily disciplines are in there, and that's why the pages are laid out the way they are, because I want to be mindful about the way I'm navigating it. So that's part of the components of this, but it can be with anything. Whether you want to be a writer, whether you want to be a better employee, if you're a scientist or whatever, there's just a certain amount of work that has to be done, and a certain type of work. So we're going to talk about that. So first, they very frankly say to get things done, you have to do. So to get things done, you have to do. So it just doesn't magically happen, right? They say you have to have zitsflesh. Zitsflesh. It's a German word for chair glue. It means the ability to sit through a boring or complex task until it's done. So you have to have zitsflesh. You sit your butt down and you do the work, right? Or for me, if I'm doing the dishes, I have to stand there until it's done. And believe me, there are certain things for some reason, it's just the shape. I don't want to have to wash them. But I will challenge myself. I mean, this is literally, I'm standing at the dishes and I'm going, I'm going to get this. I'm saving it for last because I hate it, and I'm going to do it. It's going to be the last thing I have to do, and I'm going to do this one dish with all the crevices and whatever. And that's my challenge. That's my big mountain, my peak, right? And then but that little stupid little thing, that little challenge, is practice for other challenges. There's a quote out there: "How you do anything is how you do everything." So if you don't see the dishes through, if you don't see your workout through, if you don't see whatever project through, then that you're generally more apt to not see other things through. So if we practice zitsflesh, then we are practicing focus on the tasks that we need to do. And it also says to do the dull stuff. Not everything in life is going to be enjoyable, and we need to actually sit down and do the things necessary to be what we want to be. If you want to be a writer, they say, look, you can't dream that you're going to write a novel and never sit down and write. You just need to write. And I've actually, writing, I see this all the time, because books are written by authors, and they are struggling with this also, right? So anytime you read a book and they talk about, if you want to do anything, you got to sit down and do it. Authors will say, my goal is not to write a novel today. My goal is to write a chapter or a paragraph. And when I'm writing a paragraph, my goal is not to write the paragraph, but my goal is to write a sentence. And you write a couple of sentences until it becomes a paragraph. And you can look at any task that you have, it's the same thing. My goal is to get in better shape. I don't want to look like an Olympian today. I'm just trying to get in shape. So when I go to the gym, my goal is to do one exercise and do as many reps or whatever reps I set my goal to be for that. And then my next goal is the next exercise and to hit the reps on that. I would say, if you want to be more personally organized, something I struggle with, although it looks pretty good back behind me, doesn't it, so far? If my goal is to be more organized, then I just need to organize more, right? I just need to practice organizing more. And I will eventually be more organized. You kind of follow me here? I don't need the perfect condo method, whatever. What's that girl? The whatever. I can't remember the Japanese woman who does all this stuff, right? I don't need to be perfectly feng shui. I just need to chip away at it and always be trying to improve my organization. And whatever works, but I'm always improving. So their second so the first one is do the dull stuff. Sit through it, have the chair glue, focus, right? Second one, the title of the section is Hocus Focus. But focus doesn't have to be painstaking. They talk about Zen monks. They will one of the things that they'll do is try to clean. What do they call? What is it? Zen monks. So do Zen monks in Japan who dedicate their lives to cultivating a philosophical focus through meditation. And when they're cleaning a monastery, they don't do it slowly and painstakingly. It's not like they're taking toothpicks and little brushes and going through the crevices. They actually do it as fast as freaking possible. They just want to run around and do as much as they can. And they're sort of getting intimate and focusing on this, but they're just doing it incredibly fast. And I think that, we always feel like we have to get just so slow and painstaking for it to be focus. And that's not the case. And in fact, they're saying, and I believe it, that focus helps you go faster. Because when you get in flow, like when you get in the flow state and you're just working hard, and you've probably been there at some point in your life where you're just hammering away at something, and you just look up and you're like, oh my God, an hour's gone by and I got so much done, right? If you've ever had that experience, you were probably in a flow state, a sense of a deep focus. And in doing our IT business, like we studied this a lot because distractions hurt employee productivity, and multitasking hurts employee productivity. Because if you're trying to say we'll go back to the writing thing, and you're trying to write a paper or an article or whatever you're doing, if you're getting into it and you're really working hard, the smallest thing can snap you out of that flow state. Whether it's an email ding, a text message, somebody knocking on your door, somebody walking in and saying, hey, anything that pulls you out of that state and makes you look around, or maybe not even, if it's just sort of on in the background, like the news or something in the background, you're never fully into that state. And once you're out of it, it takes, based on studies, it takes about 15 to 22 minutes to get back into that state. So if you're constantly being hit with emails and you're looking up and looking at your phone, whatever, then you're never getting into that flow state because you're never hitting it for 20 or 30 minutes, and you're never getting into that flow state. So you're never getting peak efficiency. And in fact, you're practicing being sort of all over the place. And so the more you practice that, the more we're wiring our brain for that, and we're never getting into a flow state. So I would challenge you to anything you do, whether it's define my day for 15 minutes in the morning, reading a book, meditating, doing a job, whatever your job might be, do your best to practice focus and get into that flow state and really get into it, right? Just get into it and start moving and block out everything else. Put your phone on silent. Tell people that you can't be bothered for a while, that you really want to work on this thing. And this is big for artists too, right? Like if you're an artist, whether you're an author again, or whether you're a painter or whatever, like when you get especially musicians too. Like when you get into it, you're just in it. You're in it. And then when you snap out of it, it takes you a while to refocus yourself. It happens in everything, every part of your life. So be single-minded. Being single-minded is magic for productivity. Multitasking leads to poor results and burnout because you're never accomplishing enough to not get burned out. And the results are always really just less than what they could be. I was in a class one time years ago where they challenged, like everybody said, who's here, thinks multitasking is revolutionary or the best thing you could do at work or whatever. A lot of people raised their hands. Well, so they said, okay, two guys, get to the board, right? And actually, no, it was just one person. They had this person write the alphabet and then number the letter below it. So they would go A1 or A1, B2, C3. And they timed him until he got to the end of the alphabet. And then they had him go all the way through the alphabet and write all the numbers below it. So the first one was multitasking, and the second one was not multitasking. It was doing the alphabet, focusing on the alphabet, and then focusing on the numbers. And I think his time was like less than half on the bottom one. When he just went A, B, C, D, like that, and then all the numbers, he did it in half the time that he did A1, B2, C3. It's just... And that is a very simple example of multitasking, like because you're constantly switching gears and your brain can really only focus on one thing. And it's quick changing. Like when you're multitasking, even if you think you're like you can do two things at once, it's not doing two things at once. It's doing one thing for a short time and then another thing for a short time. And it's quick changing between the two, never really getting focus on one of them. And the results generally are less than if you would just focus on the one thing. So focus on the one thing. Third one, don't wait for inspiration or motivation. This is the big one that we see when people want to start define my day or anything, exercise, whatever. Like they want that perfect time to happen. They want to wait to feel motivated. They want to wait for like this magical moment. And when we do that, chances are it's never going to be at the time we need it to be. We can't wait for that magic time. And this goes into one of the comments that somebody else made above. Like, there are days when you are not going to want to do something, and we have to do it anyway. I compare it to this. It's like being a boat in the ocean, and you have to have a rudder regardless of the current and regardless of the weather. You have to have a rudder, a sense of direction, and you have to continue to go no matter what's going on around you. If you wait for the right wind or the right current, chances are you're never going to end up on course, because we're always going to be buffeted by, whatever the current situation is. And if we bring that to life, if we're constantly waiting for that moment, we're going to be reacting to what's coming to us rather than actually setting forth the path that we want, setting ourselves on that path that we want to be on. So we can't wait for motivation. It's just not going to be there. If you're almost taking on a victim mentality if you're waiting for motivation. You're saying that I'm just going to wait until life hands me this thing, and if not, then I'm going to sit here and keep waiting. And that's not what we want to have happen. Absolutely not. That's a big part of this whole book. Is that like I am setting my intention for the day today. Doesn't mean it's going to happen the way that I want it to happen, but this is my intention, and this is where I'm going to put my energy, and chances are it's going to work out better than if we had no intention at all. And that's kind of why we can't judge ourselves too much, because I think if we set that intention and we really make an honest effort toward doing what we set out to do, even if something else happens, even if it goes wrong, we come back and we do it again tomorrow. And eventually, it's like the tortoise and the hare that, we just keep plodding along one step at a time, and we start making progress that we don't even realize we're making. So don't wait for inspiration. Don't wait for motivation. Don't do it. Don't do it. Every time somebody writes, I'm waiting for the right time, now is the right time. Now is the right time. It might not feel like it. Now is the right time. That's it. That's it. Don't even, just do it. Just do it. It takes 10 minutes. Just do it. Right? Or whatever you have to do. It might take an hour. Just do it. All right. The last one. The goal is progress. And so this is a realization that I have come to myself over the years, is that it's not necessarily a specific goal. And they say that there's actually dangers in specific goals. It's not necessarily the specific goal. It's the movement toward that goal. I read a quote, and I don't remember exactly what it was, the other week, where they say the goal is not attaining the goal. The goal is the person that you're becoming who attains goals, right? And so it's not, you might have a goal to, make $1 million or have $1 million in your retirement account. And it's not the actual money amount that is really the goal. It's becoming the type of person that's responsible with their money that is the goal, right? It's that progress, that daily progress. Your goal might be to lose weight, but the real goal is to be healthy. The real goal is to live longer and see the world and enjoy your environment. So the number, the specific weight number, is it's something easy to focus on. But when we look at the progress as being the goal, the goal is more like eating healthy every day, or just about every day, right? You give yourself some grace. It's exercising more often. It's becoming the persona, not so much the number. And we all and look, I mean, I've seen people, they reach that weight goal, and then I'm an example actually, now that I'm talking about it. I reached a weight goal. I reached the lowest weight in years a couple of years ago, and I'm right back up to where I started because my goal was a number. I reached the goal, and then I go, now what, right? I have other things to do. My goal should have been to be healthier. My goal should have been to be the type of person that eats right, that wants to see his kids grow older, that wants to see his grandkids for as long as I can, that doesn't want to be a burden on the people around me because I'm going to be clear-headed and mobile, right? So you want to, the goal is progress, forward progress every day. So if, going back to that last, that comment above, and I'm sorry, I don't remember who wrote it, but, where we were talking about, judgment and feeling bad about not reaching, the goal for the day. It's just make progress, right? You can say to yourself, I didn't get there, but did I do better today? Yes. If I didn't do better, then let's figure out why and let's get better tomorrow. But the goal is just to take one step at a time. This article could have been written for the Define My Day user, I'm telling you. It's all small steps and progress, and that's what this is all about. I mean, this page, I really couldn't have written it any bigger in this book. This is it. Like this is everything. This is not just Define My Day. This is everything. Small steps, big results. It's boring, and this whole life hack thing, right? That's pretty much the end of that article. This whole life hack thing. If you can handle it, like this will get you anywhere you want to go. If you can handle it, if you can do it, it's taking those small steps in the direction that you want to go, making progress every day. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You don't get off the couch to run a marathon. All these little sayings that I always have in my head about all this stuff. And every time I see somebody trying to bite off more than they can chew, like just take a small step. Just take a small step. And you will eventually get so much further than you ever thought you would. All right, so that's that article. Let me go back. I saw some comments going through here, so let me go back through and see where I was. Okay, so I saw Amy. Okay, Sandra says, do you eat before you go to the grocery store? The junk doesn't look so enticing if you're not hungry. Absolutely. That's actually, so I've noticed that myself, is that if I go hungry, the willpower is just not there. In fact, in that willpower book, right? Baumeister, I think, was the author, or one of the authors. In the willpower book, he talks about, in the studies that they've done, willpower in relation to blood sugar, the brain will, like, you can reload willpower by boosting blood sugar. Now, if somebody like eats a candy, they actually have more willpower to accomplish things, but there's a danger in that if you feed yourself sugar, you're going to go like this and just get unhealthy. So he says, well planned out meals where you eat protein and vegetables and it has a slow burn of sugar keeps you longer through the day, and just make sure you don't let yourself get too hungry, that you start losing that willpower along the way. And so because the brain lives on glucose, right? The brain lives on sugar. We just don't want to get it into a crazy sugar cycle. So what I've been doing when going to the grocery store is I'll have something before I leave. I usually an apple. What I've found is that I'm better with like the Epic meat stick bars, right? Like they have like bison sticks or chicken sticks. And if I eat one of those, I'm generally pretty good if I haven't had a whole meal before going to the grocery store. But I know going through the grocery store, it's not so much buying the bad food when I'm there, because I can usually still fight that. It's actually dealing with the crowd. I get so stressed out dealing with the crowd if I'm low on blood sugar or like hungry. The crowd stresses me out. So, like for me, as long as I'm good with a full stomach going into the grocery store, then I'm okay there. And he says that in the book, like if you use willpower on one thing, you won't have it for something else. So, even chronic pain, that uses up willpower. In going to the grocery store, like willpower to deal with the crowd. If I use it up all there, then I'm more likely to be cranky and low on willpower later for something else. So you want to try to manage that, where you're spending your willpower, where you're, where you're investing all of that energy. Sheila, actually did a great job. Good. I'm glad. Thank you. I include people, relationships, God, personal mindset, and so on. It sounded similar to what you were talking. That's why I asked. It's ambiguous to define. Good job. Thank you. It is. I know it's really hard. It's all part of that self-exploration. It's not like people want like specific goals. And the more I go through this process and the more I read and learn about this whole thing, I actually don't think specific goals are the answer. I think it's just growth, right? We just need to be growing. And kind of, I always compared it to, going through a fog, or a fog of war or something. Like, you just, like, the more you move forward, the more the fog lifts, but then you realize there's just more fog. But it's better than just wandering around aimlessly. So it's just that persistent personal growth. Jan says, I am an ex-Franklin Planner user, 25 years. Couldn't do without it. It was my brain. DMD allows me to incorporate my personal beliefs and needs into my goal setting and be true to myself. That's awesome. Very cool. Thank you, Jan. You write a book one word at a time. Yep, you do. Marie Kondo, that's what it was. I knew somebody was going to come up with that. What Sandra said. Kristen, you got so close. My greatest issue is focus. Yeah. Better late than never, Belinda. Yes. Sandra, greatest issue is focus. I agree. I'm right there with you. And it's, last night I was at an event where a mom was talking about her 10-year-old, I believe, daughter. And she was just diagnosed with ADHD. And the doctor was talking about, putting her on medication, and the mom didn't want to put her on medication yet because there's things that happen there. And I at some point was on ADHD medication. Didn't really do much for me. I don't know if I've ever had ADHD or if I have it or whatever. I actually think my problem is not learning focus at a young age. I think that a lot of us train ourselves to be unfocused. We train ourselves to be distracted. And I think that we need to practice focus to be focused. And it's hard because it's ambiguous. It's not like you can say, like, I'm making my muscle bigger, or I can run further. It's just such a nebulous concept of focus. But so, I've tried to build, I do every day try to build my focus through this process, right? Meditation. And I can tell, like, meditation, like, the results aren't apparent. But over time I can sort of see it. If my mind is more focused during the meditation, if I don't feel like I'm all over the place, I realize that, yeah, that's improvement. But there is actually real world examples of how meditation changes your brain and helps you focus more. They do MRIs on people that meditate. Even in 2 weeks, it actually grows brain matter, gray matter in your brain. It's crazy. And that's actually what I and this other person at this event last night told this mom, is like, look, if you don't really want to give your child medication, which I completely understand, and I probably wouldn't either, at least not in the very beginning unless it's the last resort, then one of the things you can do is maybe go through meditation with her, 2 minutes a day to start and build it up and see if that works. There's absolutely no harm, and it's so beneficial. And we're just finding out now how beneficial something like meditation is. And that practice of being mindful in so many different areas. So even packing to find my day books, I can frequently pack boxes and go on a thought spree, and I can pack 50 of these and be thinking about something completely different. I can read a book, and this used to be a big problem on the subway when I lived in New York. I can read a book go through a couple of pages and have no idea what I read because I was thinking about something completely different. And that's a lack of focus, right? And so what I caught myself doing with, when I wasn't paying attention, packing these books, is I started focusing on every step of packing the book. I started thinking now I'm placing the book in the box. Now I'm closing the box. Now I'm taping the box. And I actually felt a real huge sense of calm. I actually felt like I was doing something good for myself as I was doing that process. Packing books is one of the most boring jobs I could ever imagine doing. I hate doing it. But in that moment, my mind wasn't wandering, and I was very focused on doing each step, and it felt good. It felt like exercise, but it felt good. And even that's a great example. And I mean, even with reading, it's the same thing. As if I might have to read a paragraph 5 times before I quit thinking about this other stuff and going back to getting into the flow state. I get into the flow state as I can read the book, and I'm absorbing it then. But then if something happens that snaps me out of it, I again have to try to redirect my focus. It's all about practice, practice, practice. All the steps in here are designed to help you do that. And don't wait for motivation. No way, Sue. Take the first step, meet success halfway. There you go. Absolutely. Progress is everything. It's the journey, not the destination. Highly agree. If we don't enjoy the journey, we are not going to enjoy the destination because we've been practicing not enjoying things for a long time. The title of the article. I'm actually going to post it right now. So it was in Quartz, and it is the life hack that will change your life. Hocus Focus, apparently, is the title of the article. And I'm going to post the link here in the comments. So you should have that in the comments now. Multitasking prohibits focus. Absolutely. You're not focusing on anything when you're multitasking. You're switching back and forth. Your task switching constantly, and you're never going to get there. So yeah. All right. So let's get to the giveaway, right? We're at 4 o'clock. We've been here for an hour. I hope you guys enjoyed this. All right. So we're giving away our Bic Intensity pens. If you can see them, there's some glare there, but it's on this little carousel. 24 pens total, 12.4 millimeter and 12.7 millimeter. Give me a drink. I got a little thing in my throat. Can't talk for an hour with no water. All right, so let me pick who's going here. Jan, I beat you. Or I guess you were posting it for somebody else that didn't see it. Okay, fine. All right, so let me pick somebody here. I'm going to randomly pick it. Instead of doing the random number generator, so I don't have to go count down the list, I'm just going to scroll and let my mouse land where it lands. All right, so now we are on Anna Shuby. Congratulations, you won the Bic Fine Liners. Anna, do me a favor. If you're watching, go ahead and Facebook message me your address, and we will get these fine liners out to you tomorrow in the mail or UPS or whatever we can do it in. And congratulations, you won the fine liners. I think that's it. I don't see any more questions that I missed. If I did miss anything, please hit me up in Facebook Messenger, and I can answer there. Or maybe in the next video. If you are a DMD user, jump into the user group. Every morning I go live in there, and I'll answer questions, maybe some quick topics, usually for about 10 minutes in the morning. And that video will live there, so it will always be there. I usually do a longer one on Sundays too, so I'll try to pick a topic on Sunday and talk with the users on Sunday. Usually something more DMD specific, but you never know. So that's it. I appreciate everybody joining me. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. We have one more work day tomorrow until the weekend. I have football playoffs to watch with my boys. We're actually really excited. The Steelers are not in the playoffs, but we are really excited for some of the teams in there. So we want to see Kansas City. We want to see Seattle. I want to see Buffalo win. I would really like to see that. So I'm kind of excited for the football playoffs this year, probably more so than normal without the Steelers being in there. And our weather here is going to be awesome. It's going to be like 67 degrees. So Pittsburgh, that's not normal for January. So I hope you are doing well. I hope you have a great weekend. Yeah, I see Go Hawks. Yeah, Go Hawks. Glad you caught this. Awesome. I appreciate you being here, Pamela. Good to see you. And Sandra, you're welcome. Kathy, you're welcome. All right, everybody, have a great day, and I will see you sometime very soon. All right, bye.